Hi everyone, we are back to preview some really good Saturday action, unlike last weekend which was a little bit of a washout, but we've got Warwick and Kempton to go through this Saturday. I'm joined by Kieran Clack and Matt Brocklebank from Sporting Life and Time Form, this week's Brains Trust, to go through some really good handicaps. I'm going to start off with the weekly group Classic Chase at 3 o'clock, a really good handicap at Warwick for the staying chasers. And Matt, it's good to have some good handicaps to get our teeth stuck into this Saturday.
Yeah, loads to go at, isn't there? I think January jumps racing does get a bit of a kicking, doesn't it? And rightly so in some instances. But this is a really competitive weekend. It's one I look forward to as well. I really like Warwick as a spectacle. Just a really good jumping track, isn't it? A really good thorough test for these chasers, and I just find it, I think I was doing some digging through the Time Form stats, and there's the finisher stats, so the rates of fallers and unseats are really low, so you get an aesthetically good race, I think, so hopefully this lives up to its billing.
Yeah, it is usually a really good contest and a good pointer as well to races like the Grand National in the future. Kieran, we're going to start with the Time Form top rated in this race, Melina Girl, who has been in really good form this season.
She has, yeah, she's really progressive. She's only just turned 7, and trained by Gavin Cromwell, who seems to be making a thing of it this season. He's bringing quite a few chasers over, especially handicaps, and he's got quite a good record. I think chasers overall this season in the UK is borderline 30% strike rate, so she deserves to be top rated. She was really impressive. We'll see the VT in a minute when she won at Cheltenham, and she was going as well as Broadway Boy when she fell there last time, and I think this is a deeper race of the Classic Chase, what we have for quite a few years, to be honest. You've got your second season novices like City Chief and Gala Dilito. I know you love a French pronunciation, so I hope I've done that justice. Beauport's in there as well. You've got a Roland Merrick winner in Fontaine Collonges. You've got another Collonges, Guatapan Collonges, who's run well in this in the past. And some very solid staying chase like the likes of Credo as well, so it's quite a deep race this.
It's a good race, and Melina Girl is favourite. Let's have a look at when she won at Cheltenham earlier in the season. Just talk us through this, Kieran. Yeah,
she was really strong at the finish. She's just about to take it up here in the green colours. She powers away, she wins by 10 lengths. Now, she's £11 higher for this, but she does have the assistance of Cornerstone Walsh again, who rode her last time, so she's only £6 higher. This is quite a key piece of form. You'll see there that Guatapan Collonges comes running on into 3rd. City Chief was 4th. I will mention him in a minute as well. But you see Melina Girl, she was deadly impressive, and like I say, she then went to Cheltenham again. The further she went that day, the better she got. She'll definitely stay the trip. She went to Cheltenham again, and she tipped up when she was going really well. Now, because she fell 3 out, the handicapper hasn't been able to change her. She's still off 146. You'd really got to respect her chance.
That's essentially why she's Time Form top rated.
Yeah. Because we're allowed to. Well, she's top rated because of that win as well. But if she say she was clear 3 out and she fell, we can rate her as the winner, whereas the official handicapper can't. Yes, she deserves all the respect, but 9-2, she's a bit skinny.
Bit skinny, says Kieran. Matt, just looking at a few of the beaten horses in that race at Cheltenham, Guatapan Collonges was 3rd in that race, and he is towards the top of the market again for this race.
He is, yeah. He's a single figure price. I wonder if that's... He's a good solid horse, isn't he? He ran really well in this. I fancied him. I remember sitting here last year, quite fancied him for this race last year, and he did, and he went off 5-1 favourite. He just wasn't quite good enough. It turned into a bit of a brutal test. It was heavy ground last year. He finished 4th, and then you roll on 12 months and he's £10 higher. It's just whether he's made that enough improvement. I think his jumping has improved in the interim. You couldn't fault his comeback win at Carlisle when beating Wadsall Dundalk, and then he's run 3rd there, staying on behind Melina Girl, and he's, as you touched upon, he is significantly better off at the weights. And you know, it's a handicap race, and he's £11 better off. So you've got to respect him as well. But is he £10 better than last year? And yeah, I think he's vulnerable again, maybe.
What about City Chief then, who was 4th that day?
Really keen, really like him. I think Kieran is sweet on him as well. I think with City Chief, you're looking at a horse, he's done his winning over the years under rules in January, February, March and April. Now you just wonder if these pre-Christmas runs at Cheltenham were a bit of a fact-finding mission, I think. And he's run well on both occasions. He's been a little bit outpaced, but I'm absolutely convinced he doesn't really want Cheltenham. He doesn't come down the hill. He doesn't jump those fences down the hill well at all. But if you focus on those wins that he's had at Ayr, he won really well at Wetherby as well. In
Hereford.
Towton. He wants a flat track and a left-handed flat track over a thorough test. I think there's a lot going for City Chief. Now, Robbie Dunn comes in for the ride. He's had a winner for Nicky Henderson, but obviously it's a big day for him to ride with Nicola de Boinville out injured. So City Chief, a thorough test, soft ground over this sort of trip, and £13 better off with Melina Girl because of not only her rising the weights, he's been gifted a couple of pounds down to 140. I think it's a mark he can win off.
Yeah, chance for City Chief. Let's have a look at another video clue, Kieran, because Beauport was well back to Ascot in his reappearance and then came here to Sandown after that and was just beaten.
Yeah, this is the London National, I think it is. We've got plenty of nationals, haven't we? Truckers Lodge, solid yardstick. Truckers Lodge actually ran in that Cheltenham race, and as did Tom of Mary that came out and won at Plumpton. But in regards to this form, he's a solid yardstick. Beauport, he's the second season novice. He's a dour stayer. I think he proved that this day. His jumping would be a little bit of a concern for me, and also the way they've ridden him this year. I think Warwick, as we'll see in the pace maps later on, it's a track I think you've got to get into a rhythm and you've got to go forward. And he was a front runner, and this year they've held him up. And I just worry if he just starts to make a few mistakes, those 5 fences in a line down the back straight, that could put him on the back foot. I think he'll run well, but I think there's a few at that are more value around 8-9 to 1. Nigel Simpson-Davis, what a great season he's having. He's really resurgent this year. He'll be on the scene. I don't think he'll win.
Well, you mentioned the time form predicted pace map there. Let's have a look at it, because you're right, it is a race where I think you can get into a nice rhythm on the front end. It's a real jumping test, and perhaps the hold-up horses are up against it. Certainly when you look at the last 10 renewals, we've got horses like Gallia de la Toe up front and Percussion. How do you see this race being run, Matt, and how do you think where do you want to be positioned in the Classic Chase?
Yeah, it's a long back straight, isn't it, with a good jumping test, but that sharp turn into the home straight suddenly can leave horses a little bit on the back foot, and a horse like Beauport, he's just one mistake away from being completely out of this race. That would be my concern with him. I think he's really well handicapped, but yeah, just to the pace, there's enough pace. I think there's plenty of it. Gala Leto's probably going to be involved in that as well.
Volcano, who's been up front in this race before.
Loves Warwick.
He'll blast off, won't he?
He will go forward. Yeah, you've got a horse like Percussion as well. I don't think Guetapan Collonge and the likes of Rapper, City Chief won't be too far off, I'm hoping as well. So yeah, plenty of pace. It's 3.5 miles. It's soft ground. It's going to be a true test, but I'd be a little bit concerned, like Kieran, about Melina Girl or Beauport if they fiddly over the first sort of few fences and find themselves a little bit behind horses. Then obviously they're gonna struggle to make up the ground, I think, and they do look short enough in the betting.
One thing Melina Girl will have in her favour is she's a strong traveller, but I just have it in the back of my mind that Scottish National, she was always out the back towards that Scottish National and she ran no sort of race. Maybe the ground was too quick for her, I'm not sure, but I just think I agree with you, Matt. I think you need to be up there.
Well, let's have a look at a mare who might well be up there. Final video clue is Gallia de la Toe, winning the Hampton Novices Chase on this card 12 months ago. Now, this was a superb performance. She had Complete Unknown in second, who won a handicap very well on his next start at Kempton, and the Goffer back there in third, who came out and won a handicap at the DRF after this. So this looked really strong form, and it was no surprise she went into Grade 1 company at Cheltenham and Aintree after this. I like this mare, Matt, off current handicap mark on Saturday. Cheap pieces on. Dan Skelton has a very good record, nearly 20% with first-time cheap pieces. And I like that with Dan Skelton, when he puts the headgear on, you know that, well, look, this could be the day. I think punters know that when he sticks the headgear on, they're going to be sort of off for the life. That's my take on this sort of horse. How do you see it?
You've read my notes, haven't you, Scoob? You've just sort of gobbled them up and spat them out in front of me. But yeah, the first time cheap piece, it's the handicap debut. It's like this long-awaited handicap debut at the big handicap chase just down the road from the yard. It does scream long-term target to me. Now, obviously, if you're looking at a horse like her, she is single-figure price. She's towards the top of the betting. and she's just been really well beaten on soft ground at Newbury. Now, if punters are willing to excuse that sort of relatively limp effort, then her claims are obvious for the reasons that you've just outlined. I've potentially got to be a little bit more discerning when it comes to these horses at such a price. She is a single figure price. I'm not totally sure I can completely overlook the run at Newbury last time out. This is a different test entirely, and perhaps this has been the day. But yeah, I think we've got to be price sensitive here with her.
I mean, on that complete unknown form, she's here off 142. She's very well handicapped.
Yes.
It's just the fact last time, if it was a handicap, she'd have been conceding £17 to the third, and she only beat her ahead.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm going to put a line through Newbury.
Okay.
I didn't think they went anywhere near fast enough for her.
Fair enough.
I thought they went a really steady gallop, and I think she's a mare who wants to be chasing
Only
her.
3 or 4 runners, was there?
Yeah, there was a really steady gallop, and it turned into a little bit of a sprint, and it was just completely against her, which is why the horse that was rated quite a long way off her got so close, in my opinion. So I'm happy to forget that run. So my selection, Gallia Dilato. The panel, how are you seeing this? Final selections?
Yeah, City Chief for me. I think Robbie Dunn's a dab hand with his staying chasers. Interesting jockey booking. And I think he's going to get into a good rhythm. He got outsped at Cheltenham in a race where they didn't really go enough of a gallop on good to soft ground. I think he can't have it soft enough. I had it in the back of my mind at the start of the season. He's a dollar stayer. Now he's 100 to 1 for the National. Now it might be the National, the ground might be too lively for him, but if he runs well here, he won't be 100 to 1 for that race. So I might have a bit each way on him for the National at 100s as well.
Is it 2 for City Chief?
It is 2 for City Chief. Yeah, I just think that maybe the whole campaign for him has been geared around this new year into the spring. Look, Henderson's on record at the start of the year saying this is the only National horse we've got potentially. We were saying earlier, weren't we, he'd have to win by about 10 lengths to maybe make it high enough in the weights to get into this year's Grand National. But yeah, it's all about maybe this weekend for him, and I think the runs at Cheltenham have shown me enough. I think he's a good price at 10s.
Great stuff. 2 for City Chief in the Wiggly Group Classic Handicap Chase at Warwick on Saturday, the Saturday highlight for many. But we've got to mention Kempton. Please stay tuned for the panel's best bets. They're coming right at the end of the show. But we're just going to have 2 minutes on Kempton Park because it's a really good race day. Kieran, I'll come to you first for the Silviniaco Conti Chase, which has brought together a really good looking grade 2.
Yeah, famous 5 in this. Edward Stone, John Adil, Pick Dory, Banbridge, not long till May. Brilliant race.
Who wins it?
Banbridge for me. The price has gone. He was 11 to 4 earlier, and I thought about pulling the trigger. And since we've come downstairs, he's 9 to 4. But I'm a big fan of this horse. I was at Aintree when he won the novice chase there last year. He's a big rangy sort, and I think he can probably enhance his Ryanair claims. He's going to have to if he's going to beat Pick Dory, who's brilliant going right-handed, and Edward Stone up to 2.5. I think that'll suit him. I just don't think he's as good as he was, whereas Banbridge is a second season novice, he's on the up. Good ground over 2.5 miles is absolutely ideal for him. JJ Slevin's come over to ride him. Second tell Fabiolo in an Irish Arkle when he was flying home. I mean, that's for me, that's the best form on offer. Like I say, I haven't backed him because he's now favourite, but I do think that he'll win.
Yeah, it's a cracking race. Looking forward to seeing Banbridge. Matt, the Lanzarote Hurdle screams value bet, doesn't it?
Belter. Yeah, really good race. As you would expect for the prize money on offer. Sonny Gino leaps out at the top of the market, top of the weight, near the top of the weights anyway. Paul Nicholls, he looks dead progressive. It was really quite soft ground when he waltzed in at Entry last time though, so it's going to be slightly different conditions here. 3 I'm going to mention at much bigger prices. JJ Riley has done some winning at Kempton. He's on a fair mark, 132. He's won off that over fences for the Skeltons, and I wonder if this has been a race at the back of their minds. He's obviously failed over fences recently though, so a bit of a switch for him. Hermino's worth a mention. Gary Moore's in great form. He's unexposed as a handicap hurdler, definitely on a fair mark on the back of that third at Cheltenham. That came over a slightly longer trip. I just wonder if he'll have the pace as well, dropping in distance. But the one I like is Ben Paulin's near the bottom of the weight, Samuel Spade. I thought the speed that he showed when winning last time out.
He digs deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does indeed. Yeah, Samuel Spade. He was a good 4-year-old last year. They quite liked him in the sort of Fred Winter at Cheltenham, but the win at Taunton last time, it was his first try over the trip. He showed a good turn of foot, and I think that's going to be crucial in this. If he can sit behind runners, because they're going to go hard in the Lanzarote, and hopefully his turn of foot will come into play. He's quite a big prize, hopefully 20 to 1ish.
Can I just have a quick mention on Langadan, who heads the weights?
As long as you don't do a bad gag, you can do it.
There's no bad gags in this show, Skiff. I don't know what you're talking about. He's now off a similar mark than when he won the Coral Cup last year, and it's obvious he's been aimed for that race again, I think, and the handicap has been really, really quick to drop him again. So keep your eyes out for him, because I think if he does run an encouraging race, it'll be all set for another.
Back to the festival.
Exactly, yeah. Back to the festival. We'll be there soon.
Yeah, one to watch as well with Cheltenham in mind. Right then, yeah, really good action at Kempton. We've come to the end of the show, but the panel have got a bet each for viewers. Kieran, we'll come to you first for your bet of the day.
Yeah, no, it's staying novice handicap hurdle 140 at Wetherby. It's Paddy O'Mara. He runs in the old Mr McGoldrick colours. He's had 3 runs in a bumper, 3 runs over hurdles. He's shaped like a stayer all 3 times over hurdles. I've been at Wetherby a couple of times when he's ran. They dropped him out to 2 mile last time. He's up to 3 mile. He's ready to scoop the pot. I know you'll be happy with a horse name like that, but is he the one that nearly ran out at Sandown that day? Yeah, but
issues that horse.
Stayed, yeah, but he's a dour stayer like us, and I just think step up to 3 miles, see some improvement. Sue Smith's going better than she has all season. I think a mark of 102 is lenient, and I think he's got a very good chance.
And Matt, you're sticking at Warwick.
I am, yeah, in the 12.40 at Warwick. He's probably not going to be much of a price, although I've seen a couple of tissue prices at the time of recording, and one was 13 to 8 and one was 4 to 1. So somewhere in between might be what we could be looking at for Donica in the 12.40. Nigel Hawkes' horse, 6-year-old. He's improving, he really is improving, and yet he's able to run off the same mark, 117. He was 3rd behind Go Dante at Cheltenham at the December meeting there, and I thought he was staying on really nicely. Will want a bit further maybe in the future, but this represents a real drop in class for him, and I think he's well handicapped. Donica in the 12.40.
Great stuff. A bet each there from the panel ahead of Saturday's action. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kieran. Enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed it at home too. Fingers crossed all the action is on Saturday as we head to Warwick and Kempton for some really good racing.